Today I'm cooking up a cozy Southern Thanksgiving in my kitchen, from homemade rolls to the kind of comforting dishes that make the whole house smell like home. Pull up a chair, come spend a little time with me, and let's make this holiday special together. When I experienced my first Thanksgiving here in America, I was already a teenager. And one of my all-time favorite dishes that my American mom would make was brown rice. Now, this brown rice recipe is not the healthy kind of brown rice, but it is the most delicious kind of brown rice. And it is the easiest recipe you will ever make. You start out with melting a stick of butter. I put a stick of butter in a dish that I plan on cooking my rice in, and then just put it in the oven and sit it for, a few minutes until the butter melts. I then add 1 cup of white rice, sprinkle with about half of chopped up onion, and I usually chop my onion very finely. And then on top, I pour 2 cans of beef broth. Now, you do want to use Campbell, specifically Campbell brand beef broth, because they're more concentrated, so your rice will be a lot more flavorful. Then stick it in the oven for about 45 minutes, and that's it. The dish is ready. Before my rice cools off and goes in the freezer, I wanted to sneak a bite. It is the best brown rice. My American mom has made it for all the holidays growing up as a teenager. And it is truly loved, not just by our family, but all the guests as well. So if you've never tried this brown rice before, take opportunity to make it this holiday season because it's truly different and truly the best. And it never disappoints. Y'all, when I'm excited about something, I cannot hold it in, and this recipe makes me so excited. Before we had kids, I worked in the corporate world, and every time we had a gathering or any kind of potluck, I had a coworker who would always bring cucumber sandwiches. And those sandwiches would be the first thing gone from the table. Friend, even if you don't like cucumbers, please keep on watching. I promise it'll make sense. When I became friends with that coworker, she would make those cucumber sandwiches for my birthday every year. When we moved from South Carolina to Virginia, I asked my coworker if she would share the recipe, and she graciously did. Now, let's quickly address the elephant in the room, the cucumbers. Nobody in my family likes them except for me. So when I make this dish, it gets gone because my kids and my husband just eat bread, the spread, and for example, if we have ham, my husband will add a piece of ham or whatever turkey, whatever meat we have on hand. We're gonna put them in and hold it in. There you go. I started with baking 2 cans of French bread. Now, you can find it in the same section of the fridge where you get canned biscuits or canned cinnamon rolls. Now, I use special bread tubes that I have found at thrift store many years ago, but you can actually buy them online now. This is to hold their shape, but if you don't have those forms, if you don't want to buy them, you can always bake your bread as is. Once the bread is cooking, I peel the skin of my cucumber and then cut them thinly. Once the bread is done cooking, I take it out, remove it from the pan, and let it cool on a wire rack. While my bread is cooling, I move on to making the spread. So I start out with 8 ounces of cream cheese. You want your cream cheese to be room temperature. One of the tricks that I use to speed up the process of bringing my cream cheese to room temperature is placing the whole brick still in the package in warm water. To cream cheese, you would add 1 pack of dry goods seasons, and you want to pick Italian dressing. Then you add half a cup of Duke's Mayo. Now, if you live in the South, you know that there is no better mayonnaise than Duke's Mayo. Then I just use my fork and mix it all together. Now, you can use a mixer if you want to, but it's really easy. At that point, your cream cheese is soft to just mix it all by hand. And that's it. But what I have discovered to take these sandwiches one more notch up is to use a little piece of smoked salmon. Y'all, when I say you will not be able to stop eating those little sandwiches, I truly mean it. I mentioned earlier that I start out with making 2 loaves of bread, but usually by the time we're done eating the bread the next day, I ended up making 2 more because these sandwiches are that good. You're supposed to let this bread cool completely before cutting it. But patience is not my virtue, so I cannot wait because this bread is so delicious with this spread. And this part right here, the end, it's hot. It is crispy and crunchy, and so everybody loves this part of the bread. So that's what I cut off. Now I'm gonna make me a sandwich and enjoy it. This next dish, my 6-year-old will tell you, make it and make it now. This dish is as southern as it gets. Several years back, my best friend and I were talking on the phone, exchanging ideas, what we're making for Thanksgiving, and she mentioned her grandmother's sweet potato casserole recipe. I said, you know what? I think my family might like this. So she graciously shared the recipe, and we have been making this dish ever since. I make it for holidays. I make it when I make ham. I make it just because everybody absolutely loves it. For the base of this recipe, you want to start out with 3 cups of mashed sweet potatoes. And it depends on the size of your sweet potatoes. It's probably around 3 to 4 good large size of sweet potatoes. Then you want to add 1 cup of sugar in the bowl, 2 eggs, and then 1 tablespoon of vanilla and half a cup of melted butter. Now, when you melt your butter, don't do what I did. Don't create more work for you by creating more mess. I turned my microwave on. I walked away. I forgot that my butter is at this point popping and hopping and spilling at the same time too. And when I came back, half of it was spilled and I had to start all over. Once you're done with the base, you put it in a dish and then you move on to the topping. And that's the best part of this dish. You want to take 1 cup of packed brown sugar. You want to add about 1/3 cup of flour, 1 cup of chopped pecans, and 1/3 cup of melted butter. Mix it all together, then sprinkle evenly over your sweet potato mixture. And then bake it at 350 for about 30 to 35 minutes. And you just want to check to make sure that your top looks like it's crisp and golden brown. Once the dish is done, let it cool and then hide it because I guarantee you your family will eat it before you do. This next dish was introduced to me by a sweet friend at a 4th of July party. Her family was having a family gathering, and they always invite us. And when I saw this dish, I didn't know what to think about it. It was sweet, but yet at the same time, it tasted savory. And so I asked her, I said, what is this? She said, oh, that's just corn pudding. And I thought, oh my word, this is good. And come to find out, apparently it's a very common southern dish from many, many years ago. People still make it today. So the next week, I decided to try to see if my family will like it. I made it and it was an instant hit. We're going to start out with 3 large eggs in a bowl, mix it well together. Then you'll want to add 1 stick of melted butter, 1 package of sour cream, 1 can of whole kernel corn, and you want to make sure that it's not drained. You want to then add 1 can of cream corn, 1 box of Jiffy corn mix, half a cup of sugar, and 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract. Mix it all together, then pour in a baking dish and bake it at 350 for about 1 hour and 15 minutes. Y'all, and that's it. It is ready to be enjoyed. Before I share this next recipe with you, will you let me know in comments, do you guys make bread rolls for Thanksgiving? I also would love to know, what is your favorite Thanksgiving recipe? Do you have a family recipe that you make for gatherings every year? So this recipe is from year 2000. That is before we had Pinterest and social media. And back then you would cut out your favorite recipes and stick it in a book. So this recipe has been in my book for 25 years. The only reason I cut it out and saved it because it had a blue ribbon second place award that this recipe won. So I thought, you know what? This is a perfect year, 25 years later, for me to test it out and see what's so special about these rolls. This recipe was written for bread machine, but I don't have one, so I used my mixer and it worked fine. So I started out by warming up 1 cup of milk. You want to make sure that your milk is not scalding hot. You want it to be just warm to touch, because if it's too hot, it will kill your yeast, and then from this point on, you're wasting your time. To that 1 cup of milk, I added 1.5 teaspoon of active dry yeast. In my yeast mixture, I always add about 1 teaspoon of sugar. Mix it all together, cover it, and just let it sit for about 5 minutes. You will know that it's ready when your yeast mixture almost looks like you had a crust. Once your yeast have been activated, you want to pour that mixture in a mixing bowl, and then you want to add all the liquid ingredients. Your egg yolk, vegetable oil, honey. And then you want to add, after mixing it together, slowly add 3.5 cups of bread flour and 1 teaspoon of salt. Using your dough hook, you want to mix all the ingredients well for about 10 minutes. Once the dough is mixed well, you want to put it in the bowl, cover it up, and put it somewhere warm. Depending on the room temperature of your home, it can take 1 hour to 2 hours for your dough to rise. So you really not want to pay attention to the time as much as how much has your dough risen. You want to make sure that it's at least doubled in size. After your dough has doubled in size, you want to punch it down, cover, and let it rest for another 10 minutes. You want to then divide your dough into 24 pieces and shape them into balls. Place 12 balls each into a greased 8-inch baking pan, and then cover and let it rise in a warm place until double in size, and that usually takes about 30 minutes. And now I will share with you why this recipe has won blue ribbon. I guarantee you it's because of the glaze that they put on these rolls. This glaze was something else, and it's so easy. All you do is combine sugar, melted butter, honey, and egg white, and then you drizzle over the dough, or you can use a pastry brush and brush it on top. Put the rolls in the oven and bake it for about 20 to 25 minutes at 350 until they're golden brown. And if you want it a little bit sweeter, you can always add or brush a little bit of honey on top. But we didn't do it. It was plenty sweet, and it was, oh my word, so good. Can I be an old car saleswoman for a minute right now and tell you to subscribe? Because next week, you do not want to miss this one-of-a-kind pecan pie cheesecake recipe. See you on the next page.